Why don't more women talk about money? It's a great question. I know for me, I had a really hard time having that money conversation with my late husband. And unfortunately, it caused unbelievable consequences. There's many reasons. And today I'm going to go over 6 of why women are very hesitant to talk about money. And by the end of this video, you are going to have a much better sense of what to do about it, and at the very least, be able to look at it a little bit differently and hopefully have more confidence to talk about money. In our culture, women have actually been taught or conditioned not to talk about finances and money. For years, decades, women have been the homemakers, the baby makers. We raise the children, we run the household, and we don't really have time to look at the financial picture, especially considering that for decades, the men made the money, they managed the money, they controlled the money. So we're kind of behind the 8 ball as far as finances on a cultural, societal level. As a result of that, we are not knowledgeable. We are underrepresented in the financial world. As a matter of fact, there are very few financial planners who are women, even less stockbrokers who are women, but our society is changing. Women work now, women aren't necessarily having children as much as they used to, or if they are having children, the husbands are much more involved, sometimes to the point of staying home with their children and letting the women work. So things are changing in that department. But keep it in mind that it is a systemic societal influence that has gone on for decades and is still prevalent today, even among younger women. Just be knowledgeable about that. And as a result of our cultural influences, we have been conditioned to not talk about finances and money, even with our own spouses. Like me, for example. What you can do about that is start talking about it. And I will have other videos where I'll give you very specific points on how to do that. But again, the secret is knowledge. So if one of the problems is talking about money, then obviously the solution is start talking about money. Start asking questions. Let go of our conditioning and be brave and start gaining knowledge so that you know the right questions to ask to start that conversation. So for example, if you're married, sit down with your husband and say, you know, I really need to know our financial picture. Would you mind sharing that with me? That's a great start. Another reason why women don't talk about money is because they oftentimes don't make as much as men, and possibly for doing the exact same job. Psychologically, that contributes to them feeling like they're not as valuable. And when you don't feel valuable, then why would you approach a subject that would just reinforce you not feeling valuable? There are many reasons why women are not at the same pay grade. And we are working on it as a culture, for sure. But the most important thing that you can do is own your value. Your spouse might be making more money than you. That does not mean that your contribution is not as important as your spouse's. It absolutely is. It's really important to own your own value, see what it is that you contribute to the relationship, to the household. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary, and be more courageous about talking about money. One of the things that is lacking are mentors for women in the financial industry. Only 27% of women are financial planners, and only 15% of women are stockbrokers. The financial industry is an industry where we are lacking far behind in representation. And without knowledge of finances, it's really hard to talk about money from that aspect, just from the knowledge aspect. One of the things we can do as women is step more into those rules. Don't be like me. I was afraid of math. I was afraid of numbers. Turns out I'm a pretty intelligent woman. Had I had the right mentor, had I had someone to give me that confidence, who knows? I could have been a really great mathematician. The point is, don't be afraid to step into roles in the financial industry. We're needed out there because women want to look up to other women who are successful, knowledgeable in money matters. I already mentioned this, but I want to circle back to it because it's huge. Women are having the children. Most of the time we are staying home with the children, or at least managing the children, getting them to daycare, getting them to their doctor's appointments. It's a full-time job just in and of itself. Another large subject, which is our finances, our family finances. So we abdicate that to our spouses. It's practically a full-time job just taking care of our children. And then if we're working on top of that, I'd say our schedules are pretty full. And to add the family finances to that can just feel overwhelming. But be careful about abdicating your finances and talking about money completely. I'm a perfect example of that. Because I didn't ask questions, I suffered some significant consequences. So ask questions and be knowledgeable, at least the big picture of your household finances. You might need encouragement to have those discussions. I'm hoping that this video will help you be encouraged to do so. But approach your spouse and say, I really need to know. Because the truth of the matter is, and this is what happened to me, my husband died unexpectedly. And I was completely ignorant of what had transpired with our finances. It is devastating when you're trying to grieve your spouse and trying to pick up the pieces of being financially devastated. And you have permission to have clarity on your financial picture, to know what's going on, because you never know what's going to happen. Would you like a free gift? I've put together a How Financially Confident Are You quiz that you can take. It's completely free. The link is right below. And that way you know where you are in your finances.